Hello, manga and anime lovers. I'm Branch Matter One. You can call me Branch. And today I'm back after a long, long hiatus to talk about How to Become Ordinary Season 2, Episode 2. Now, for context, because you probably won't know when this video comes out, I initially watched the first episode when it was airing. I believe that was this summer. And then I got way too busy and to edit these videos, and I figured there's no point in recording my thoughts if I'm not going to edit them, which is really kind of a backwards way of thinking about it when you think about it. But regardless, I didn't record any videos since then until probably right now, when I'm a lot less busy. It's winter, no more school and all that, so I can at least finish this series because I really wanted to get back to it. And I've been watching with my brother, and he really wanted to get back to it, so figured I'd push myself through it and get all this done. But regarding how to become ordinary, now that I've been watching the Monogatari series recently and reading it, man, a lot happened since I last watched this show. And crap, was it even last year? Stop talking about unrelated stuff. Focus. Uh, well, ever since reading that series and listening to people talk about it, I think I've gained a deeper appreciation for these kinds of stories that are way super heavily character based. So I want to try and explore this story through that sort of lens. But first, I'll talk about the obvious stuff, which is the mystery of the arson incidents, which is kind of like the main, I guess, the front story of all this. And it is a good mystery. It's probably the best mystery of the show so far because it's not super on the nose or super difficult to understand. Like, there's a bunch of arson incidents, and they are increasing in severity and in the objects that are being set on fire. And the main character, I think Urino, I think his name is. I'm going to mess up a lot of names because I'm just getting used to them all over again. But the red-haired guy from the newspaper club, he is trying to... Well, his goal isn't to solve it. His goal is to make good stories for the newspaper. But he's trying to predict the next incidents, and he's being very successful. And the whole mystery is who is setting these incidents and why, even if it's not explicitly stated. And usually that would be a really open-ended question, but because last episode it ended with the van being set on fire, and this episode now a bench is set on fire, and actually my brother pointed out that the bicycle that was set on fire before the van may have something to do with the bicycle mystery from the first season. And there's just way too many coincidences happening for it to be somebody unrelated to the main characters. And obviously, the first person to suspect is Osanai. I think I might have said that last episode too. But she's the only person. Kobato, I think his name is Kobato, whatever. The main guy, him, but he didn't do it. We see that he didn't do it because he comes across the incident as it's happening. And obviously Kengo. But Kengo is obviously not the one because he's too responsible. No way. And to be honest, I now don't think it was Osanai either. She is not the kind of person to do that. And if you take into account what happened at the end of last season, when her and Kobato broke up more or less because they were unable to become ordinary, as the title suggests, she would not do something this extreme. Even in the last season, when she set up the whole kidnapping incident, she did not. She didn't do a lot of stuff herself. So either if she had anything to do with these arsons, she would be inciting the person to do them. But I don't think she is because there's no reason for her to do it, and she wants to, remain low. That's the whole reason for her and Kobato splitting up in the first place, because they egged each other on because of their natures, and they, I guess, enabled each other. And I have a bunch to say about that, but I don't know if I'll say it this review because I think they're actually wrong regarding that, even though they are kind of right. And I think if I'm to say who the culprit is, it's probably the student counselor, because he pulled the newspaper club out of nowhere and berated them for making baseless accusations. And he seemed really suspicious. Why is he going to these lengths to shut them down? And if he's the culprit, it would make sense. I don't know why he would be the culprit, but I mean, we really don't need to know why. We just need to know who. I don't think in any of the other cases we knew why before we knew, the means. We find that out later. And if it's not him, then it's cram school guy, the friend of Urino, who's always constantly going to cram schools. Suspicious. He has an alibi. He's at cram school, or at least he says. And because at the very end of this episode, he was giving Urino a hint to, instead of explaining his thought process to clear the newspaper club from being suspected as the arsonists, he said, make a second draft of your prediction because there might be a turnaround. And that's just all kinds of suspicious. But I'm going to be honest, I think I know, after thinking on it for a while, what is actually going on. I do believe it is the counselor, or at least somebody else, not the cram school person, because number one, the cram school person, I don't think he has a reason to commit literal arson. I think what is going on, and the reason why so many people seem so suspicious, is that Osanai initially gave him the information, because he was the one who presented Urino the initial newspaper clippings of the first fires. So she is trying to help Urino by giving him these stories that she investigated herself. But in investigating it to find more stories for Urino, she is basically solving the mystery of who did it. And she has some way, somehow, come across the fact that it's the counselor. And she does not want Urino to continue with his investigation because he will inevitably post the results in the newspaper and there will be problems. You can't do that at school. You can't play detective with that kind of serious situation, especially with people who are in power over you. Which is why at the end of this episode, she basically told Urino to stop and to back off. It's time to stop. And I believe she was working with Crab School guy, who I don't remember the name of, and I probably will after the next episode, perhaps. But she was working with him, I think, in order to help Urino and indirectly assist him, instead of directly assisting him herself, because what she learned from working with Kobato is that they might egg each other on. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think she wants to keep a distance between her and Urino. I mean, Urino even says that she has this wall up around her, this force field, this veil, and he can't get past it. So I think Cram School guy and her had the same intentions, but whereas she found out the truth and wanted to back off, or at least solve it, handle it herself in a way that she's used to, Cram School guy wants Urino to be able to solve it and handle everything and take all the glory. So I think that's where they diverged, and that is why they both seem super suspicious and they both know a whole bunch more. Now, as for how Urino is solving where these cases are going to be next, I don't know. I'm not going to try to find out because there might be some Japanese wordplay between the names of the cities or something that I wouldn't have any way of knowing really. So I'm going to leave that for the show to explain. But I think knowing that will really point to who the actual culprit is because it'll eliminate a bunch of people. Also, the one guy in the newspaper club, what was his name? It was something Mochi. For some reason, Osanai, I believe, was contacting him at the end of the episode, was talking to him. I could be wrong, it could be another person, but I think she was contacting him. And I don't know if she's helping them with the newspaper business or if she's convincing him to have Urino keep writing the same article over and over again because they were supposed to rotate, but he keeps getting the editor section. There could be any number of things, any number of reasons why all this suspicious stuff is going down, but it's not really important. To be honest, the main point is that why in the world did the van get burned? There is a reason. It is the exact same van. Kobato confirmed it with Kengo. And so somebody's trying to erase the evidence. I don't know if this teacher was maybe part of the drug ring somehow from last season, or if maybe those were students of his and he doesn't want the embarrassment to get out, or something happened. He's related to one of them. I don't know. But it has something to do with that whole incident. And it may just all be a cover-up to burn that van, and he's doing the ones before and after just to make it seem like that van is not special. I don't know. Depending on what he burns next, I think it'll be super obvious what his goal is. If it's increasing, I was making a joke that maybe it's the bus next. I don't think so, because I don't think the arsonist wants to hurt people. The arsonist just wants to either make a point or distract from the actual purpose. I still don't know why a hammer was stolen last episode, but I guess we'll find out. But then again, that girl who was in the gardening club, I think they were, was very suspicious of Urino when he was asking her about the first arson incident, or the second, the one where the field got burned a little bit. And she got all clammy when he started asking about it until his friend showed up. And I really don't. There is something very strange going on, And I feel like most of it has a really mundane explanation, and the only thing that's complicated is the actual culprit and why they're doing it. But that's really all I have to say on the mystery itself, because I'm not the best at solving mysteries. I'm maybe better than other people, but that other people pool is pretty small. Instead, I want to look at the relationship between Kobato and his new girlfriend and Osanai and her new boyfriend, which they are officially boyfriend and girlfriend. It is confirmed this episode. This episode, by the way, really speeds through time like crazy, and it's kind of disorienting because they don't make it clear when time is passing. But that's just a small criticism. The production value and direction of the show is pretty good otherwise, like really good. I'm talking top notch. And it's strange why. I don't mind it, but I just find it like why is the production so good? But Osanai makes a really I don't want to say in-depth, but a very lengthy metaphor about a candied chestnut and how if you keep dipping it in layers of syrup, eventually it changes from a chestnut dipped in candy to a candy chestnut. In other words, the means become the end. That's literally what she says, and she tells Urino that he is her candy syrup. So here's the problem. Her and Kobato are coping really hard, to put it lightly. To put it into more elegant terms, they are trying to run away from themselves. Because last season, and I should have realized this earlier, I may have even said it before, but the entire premise of becoming ordinary is completely flawed because nobody is ordinary, right? People only act ordinary in ordinary circumstances. Everybody is different with other people. They're different by themselves. There is no normal. So the fact that these two really want to become normal means that they're chasing an ideal that they can never achieve because the normal they're looking for doesn't exist. Or rather, they have achieved the normal they're looking for, and they don't like it because the normal they're looking for means acting normal. It means acting like everybody else. And everybody else is also just acting, which is why they're never going to be able to achieve their goal no matter who they're with. Now, that's not to say that they can't improve from how they were in middle school. Like, we still don't know much about Osanai, but from the whole stunt she pulled at the end of last season, we can make a guess. She's very manipulative and very clammy. She doesn't talk to anybody, and she doesn't open up until it's too late. Whereas Kobato is way too confident and is quick to figure things out, but is really slow to consider other people's feelings. So they can improve. Osanai can learn to rely on other people more, and Kobato can learn to understand people more. And perhaps that is what they will learn. Unfortunately, they're in the wrong relationships to learn that right now. Kobato is with someone who just they do not understand each other at all. His girlfriend, the brown-haired girl, whose name I don't remember right now, sees him as something that he's not. She sees his exterior and thinks that he's normal. She thinks he is what he's trying to be. She thinks he's demure. She thinks he's nice. He's kind. She thinks he's not trying hard to be anything. And the irony of that is that he's trying very hard to appear that way, and he doesn't seem to like it when other people see that. He doesn't seem to like when other people see that he's quote unquote ordinary, as we see this episode. And it makes you wonder, if they don't like the results of what they've been trying so hard to do, then what is the point? And I think that's the message that is going to be that they're going to learn at the end of this season, or later in the series even. I don't know how long this is going to go. But they're going to learn that it's not a bad thing to be unordinary. And in fact, it is a terrible thing to force yourself to act like a quote-unquote ordinary ideal, because it just removes all character, all personality from you, and makes you just a cookie-cutter, flat human being. And I think that Osanai is in a similar boat. Instead of learning to rely on other people, she is in a situation where the other person can only rely on her. She is unable to rely on him because, number one, he's way younger, he's way more immature, depending on the aspects of the personalities you look at, and he's way more he's extremely unwilling to ask for help from anybody. So she is in a position where she is completely closed off and completely left to her own devices. She is in a worse situation than she ever was with Kobato, and Kobato is in a situation where he's unable to express himself at all. And it's just either going to all dissolve over time or it's going to blow up. And I'm inclined to believe that the Kobato situation will blow up first because his girlfriend is sensing that he's just not into it. And And she's right. They're both not into it. They both kind of chose each other based on a quick idea, and I think it's really going to backfire on them. And Urino is too eager, so he was too eager to try and date Osanai, but he's realizing that she's not what he's learning that she's not what she's all cracked up to be. She's not what he thought she was. He can't keep up with her sweet talk. He gets annoyed by her too easily, and she is gradually getting, slightly fed up with him. Not in like an extreme way, but in a way where she will eventually realize, I think, that she doesn't want to constantly be carrying him through his school life. They're really bad matchups. And at the end of the day, Osanai and Kobato are the best for each other because they complement each other. And all it would take is for them to be more honest with each other, for them to form a really tight bond, because they help each other in their strongest areas, and they are able to hold each other back, but not when they clam up and they don't talk. So I think that's what all this is leading to eventually. Once this whole, the mystery is solved, and probably future mysteries. We'll see. I don't know how long this mystery is going to last. I thought it would be finished this episode, but apparently not. So we'll see. I'm really excited to see what's happening next. I'm probably going to watch the next episode tomorrow and record my review then or the day after. I don't know when you'll see this video. That depends on how long it takes to edit. But we'll see. Well, thank you so much for watching, if you have watched this long or watched it all. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.